Okay, welcome to week 4 in the NFL. I don't know how many taking actions we've done. It's an exciting week for football. The lines are starting to tighten up. My formulas will start to work. They're not perfected yet, but we're getting there. I have a great story for you about bookmaking and what my most successful day was. I have one of my dearest friends and Adam Rodriguez, voted best looking man on the planet, People magazine, superstar on multiple TV shows, including one now, Criminal Minds, writer, director. We'll get back to you. It's interesting. I love this show today. Welcome back to Taking Action. I'm Chris Colombo. This is our 7th episode and week 4 in the NFL. This is when my magic starts to work. Not perfected yet, but starts to work. Last week was a good week. I picked four very good teams. I have to look on that because once I give you a pick, I forget it, so it doesn't carry into the next week. Every week's a new week, or you become a fan. I called the Chargers, I called the Patriots, and I called the Cardinals over the Cowboys, and the Eagles were all day long. This week there won't be as many picks. And here's my crazy story for the week. As you know, we're going into the winding up of baseball. I am from New York. I am a Yankee fan. It was bittersweet because it was the era of Derek Jeter and that whole team and Matt Rivera, and they kicked my head in and day out. And no matter what I did with the line, I couldn't get them off it. And not that I'm a Boston fan, Yanks were up in the World Series 3-0. They kept betting the Yankees, and they went 4 in a row, and they kept betting them in the series, and they kept doubling down and doubling down. Let's just say you could have bought a Malibu beach house and one of the best from that series. That was probably my finest victory. And I would like to say it was because I was a great bookmaker, but I guess all those years it was taken away and it came back on that day. And I'd like to say I would like to see the Yankees win that one, but they got enough, so maybe it was time for us to get a little piece. But that was my they laid tremendous odds in the series. They kept laying the odds, and the odds went up because they needed to win. The Yanks were up 3 in a row. They came to win 4 in a row, and I took it all. Okay, welcome back to Taking Action. I'm Chris Colombo, Anthony Conover with me as usual. I'm a little hard on him, but he's got to learn how to do this because he's got a future in it.
Certainly trying, Chris. Certainly trying. All right.
There is no try. Do or don't do.
It's like what Yoda said.
What?
It's like what Yoda said. Big Star Wars fan.
Yeah, well, I got the same height as him. Come on.
Thursday night, we kick it off. Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay started off as a 1.5-point favorite. They're now a 1.5-point underdog.
What do you like?
I actually like the Lions in this game. It just came out. 2 offensive linemen, a linebacker, and the safety for the Packers are all ruled out for Thursday already. So I think the Lions take advantage of that and win this one.
Who's home?
Green Bay is.
I hate to go against home team underdog. But I'm going to go with your pick. It's not one of mine. Who do you like?
I would go with the Lions.
I would have went with Green Bay, but I'm going to go with you.
Okay. Sunday, Atlanta at Jacksonville, sort of. This game is played in London. It started off as Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite. That's where the line still is.
Well, you gave me a bit of advice there, and I never paid attention to the games where you had to travel because I didn't know how to put that as a component because how do you know who it affects? But the Jaguars are the most winning team, which you told me, in England.
Yeah, they've played 9 games over in London already. No other team has like more than 4 or 5, so they're there all the time.
How did they do?
They've been. I mean, the team hasn't been very good, so they're kind of iffy. But 6-hour time difference, they're used to it. They know how to schedule everything.
Yes, but every year it's a different team.
No, they had the same players for a few years now.
That's your philosophy? I'll go with the Jaguars. Yeah.
I like the Jaguars in this one.
God help me. Go ahead.
Baltimore at Cleveland. Cleveland actually started off as a 1.5 point underdog. They are now 2.5 point favorites.
That's a 3.5 point move. Cleveland's at home.
Cleveland is at home.
Cleveland is one of the teams that before the season started, and the Cardinals, I wrote down for you, they're going to be very good against the spread. They may not win the games, but they're going to cover. They're always not given credit for whatever. I agree with you on the Browns.
Cincinnati is
for all the different reasons.
Cincinnati is at Tennessee. Cincinnati, it started off as Tennessee being a 1.5 point underdog. They are now a 2.5 point underdog. So Cincinnati's a 2.5 point favorite at Tennessee.
And they were 1.5.
Yeah.
What do you like?
I just don't have much faith in Tennessee. I would go with Cincinnati. Burrow still playing, even with the calf injury. It looked like they got things figured out on offense last week. I would go with Cincinnati.
I agree, but all for different reasons. Go ahead.
Denver at Chicago. Denver started off as a 1.5 point favorite. They are now 3 point favorites.
Who do you like?
Nobody. They're both.
I lean towards Denver. Go ahead.
Okay. The Rams are at Indianapolis.
Skip.
Oh, I don't blame you. Miami and Buffalo.
Let's talk about that. That's an important game.
Best game of the week.
Okay, absolutely. That's what you need me here for.
Miami at Buffalo. The Bills started off as a 3.5 point favorite. It's now down to 2.5.
I would have bet them when they were 3.5. That's the idea of what I do, but I can't get to use then. Twist my arm. I'll never say Buffalo.
I like Miami a lot. Best,
don't jinx me.
Best offense in the league right now. They just put up 70 points.
Doesn't take 18 games to win a Super Bowl. You never know what's going to drop. But that's a division game, isn't it?
It's a divisional game.
It's a divisional game. So they're going to bring their A team.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I think Miami is the better team.
I would agree. Minnesota at Carolina. Minnesota started.
Skip.
Okay. Pittsburgh at Houston.
Skip.
Skipping. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. That's a divisional game. You like those.
Mm-hmm. I like them because they come to play. They're important. They're not looking towards next week, who they're playing, or the week after. They don't care about the flight. They care. That's important. Does not take 18 games to win a Super Bowl.
I know.
And that's what they want to do. And they want to get to the playoffs. That's the goal. That keeps jobs, that gives contract increases, keeps people in the stands, sells jerseys, and they feel good about themselves. And even if when they no longer have a career there, they do have a career from how they perform. And who's playing?
That would be Tampa Bay at New Orleans. I know, and it's another thing you told me that you wanted to know before, too. Next week is when bye weeks finally start. Tampa Bay has a bye week the week after.
2 weeks, that works against them.
No. They this week they're at New Orleans. Yes. Next week they have their bye.
Okay, because those Thursday night games and flying to wherever they fly, England. What are we playing, rugby over here?
They're going to Germany this year too.
Yeah, but the Hofstra houses are good. You know who I like in that game. You don't need to tell me. What do you think I like?
I would assume you like New Orleans.
Absolutely not.
You like the Bucks?
I like the Bucks.
Okay. Getting 3 points on the road.
Good.
Washington at Philadelphia, another divisional game. Philly started off as a 7.5 point favorite. They're now 8 point favorites.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need me to tell you this. I think the strongest, if not one of the most strongest and potent offenses in the league is the Philadelphia Eagles. But it doesn't take 18 games to win a Super Bowl. And who are they playing the following week?
The following, Philadelphia goes to L.A. to play the Rams.
I like Philadelphia.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why they're in a rhythm. Their offense is now in a rhythm. Tampa Bay was who they played last, right?
Tampa Bay last week.
Who did Philly play this week? I forget them afterwards, so I don't bring it into this.
They played the Bucks.
Philly played the Bucks.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks are ready. I think they shut a Philadelphia offense down in the first half, which is tough to do. I had Tampa came and had some success in the second period. The team that could score in the second half, and and they were going against the most voracious offensive line I've ever seen. And Swift put a pounding on their defense, and which tires them out. And they held in there the best they could. They didn't give up. They didn't quit. I'm going with, guess who?
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Washington at Philly is what we're talking, the Eagles.
With the Eagles.
Okay.
I mean, I don't ever like to lay that many points, but I think it's a team that deserves it. Let's just not hope they don't coast and say this is not an important game. We don't want to hurt our guys. But I think that Philadelphia team has all heart, and it's a battling city. I like the way they're coached. I like the way they're playing. And plus, their Swift and Kelsey are better on the field.
I would agree with that.
Although,
as well.
Nothing wrong with Kelsey and the other Swift. I mean, that's actually nice to see.
We go Las Vegas. The Raiders are at the Chargers. Chargers started off as 4.5-point favorites. They're now 5.5-point favorites.
I stay away from 5.5.
Yes, you do. Never liked
Chargers is a very good team. Garoppolo, when he's on, he's as good as anybody.
In concussion protocol right now, too. He's in concussion protocol right now, so you never know.
I've been in concussion protocol my whole life. I'm taking too many shots. That's an unpredictable game because when Garoppolo comes to play, there's nobody better, but when he messes up big.
Big one here.
That
Arizona at San Francisco, 14-point favorites. The San Francisco 49ers are over the Cardinals. I know you love your Cardinals.
I love them against the spread. They don't give up. They're a well-coached team. They got young players. They've been trying to put together a dynasty forever, and they're trying, and they play. I take 14 points any day long.
Okay. New England, my Patriots, are at Dallas. Dallas started off as a 7.5-point favorite. They're now 6.5-point favorites.
Dallas is an unpredictable team. When Zach Prescott and company come to play, you got to pick who comes to play. If he comes to play, he plays. If there's something in there that ain't in rhythm, it's a disaster. I don't know about that one, but it should be a good game to watch.
And then Sunday night, Kansas City is at the Jets. Kansas City started off as a 7-point favorite. They're now 9.5-point favorites.
Well, I like to lay them points, but Jets can't put points on the board. And I don't think Mahomes knows how to just score 3 points.
No.
I think, like Allen, he's full blast. The only thing he's learned to step out of bounds.
Throw the ball away.
But when he needs to, greatest warrior I've ever seen. Selfless, altruism, everything you want to say. I don't ever say to lay those points, but it's going to take 14 somebody to lay down.
And then, Chris, I have good news for you. There's only one Monday Night Football game this week.
God.
Seattle at the Giants. So Seattle started off as a 1-point favorite.
You could pick that one. The Giants are the most unpredictable team historically. They've broken more streaks. They've stopped more people going to the playoffs. They've come as a wild card back to win the Super Bowl.
You don't have to remind me.
Don't have to remind me. It was the worst day of bookmaking in my life. Everybody in New York bet it. It was 60-1. If you put $100 down, you got $6,000 if they went to the Super Bowl. Let me tell you something. I'm still not recovering from that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick this one either.
It's there. I mean, it'd be a good game to watch. But remember, you watch the games, you pick up things for next week.
Absolutely.
And you store in your memory.
I can agree. That's all we got for this week around the NFL.
Good luck to everybody this week. I'm looking forward to help you. Remember what you learned. You know what my main pick is. I said it. I gave you some peripheral ones, which I like. The lines are starting to tighten up. This is when my science comes in. We're going to start betting a hell of a lot less teams and having a hell of a lot more success. I think I was 4-4 the first week.
Yeah.
I was 50-50 the second week, so that's a wash. And I went 5 of 6 this week, right?
Yeah, about I think 5 of 7 somewhere in that nature.
Okay, so we're not in too bad a shape.
No.
So we're what 11 of 15.
I was never good at math.
but my main pick stood up. The only one that didn't was the Browns game when
Against the Steelers, yes.
he got injured. The running back.
Yes, Nick Chubb.
Yeah. He made a difference because in order to set that Steeler defense off, you needed a guy like him pounding it, and they get tired. And that's when the running game opens up, or the passing game. Remember, if you control the clock in the middle of the field, you will control the game. There's three facets to football: offense, defense, and special teams. You don't have to win offense and defense. Win two of the three, you will come out okay, but then we got to evaluate the line. But always remember, defenses win big games. Welcome to Taking Action. I'm Chris Colombo. I couldn't be prouder to introduce today's guest, Mr. Adam Rodriguez. Adam Rodriguez is probably the finest human being and my favorite actor. I know him for a very, very long time. He supports his people, his God, his community. And since I met him, he's gone on to have three beautiful children, a beautiful wife. And everywhere he goes, he makes a positive impact, no negative energy. And he fits the genre of this show because he's all about the future and the young. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, brother. It's so good to see you, Chris. Great to be here.
It's been a while because raising the kids, being a mom dad was the toughest thing I ever did.
I got to tell you, I don't know how you did it because and I love it. This is the job that I always wanted was to be. Then you know that we talked. I
know that,
but
you wanted to help. You help the Puerto Rican people come together, and there's still prejudices out there. We've talked about it. Mm-hmm. And more than anything in life, you wanted children to raise and love and a woman to stand by your side. And you will get all of that because you're the best person I know.
Oh, shit, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Can I tell a quick story on how we met?
Yeah, please. Go ahead. I hope you could tell it. Let me hear
it. The first time me and him met was over the phone. So, and there's 3 hours different. He said a mutual friend, Abe Harker, was on the show. He was Adam's manager, and they had more like a father-son type of thing, so it worked. And it's tumultuous with that kind of relationship because it's not business, but it pays off. And they're at the birthday party, and at the time I was pulling down a lot of press, and they were saying a lot of bad things about me, and I made a HBO special, and they were going to revoke my bail and put me in jail. So I'm laying down. It's about 11:30 our time, and it's earlier there, 7:30, 8:30, whatever it is. And I get a call. Now, I'm not watching many TV shows because I'm facing life in prison, and I just met about 3/4 of law enforcement in my house. They had 17 agencies that came and arrested me. So phone rings, and I think I'm getting violated. My bail's gone because I made this TV show. And I wasn't watching CSI Miami or anything else. And I hear on the phone, Mr. Colombo says, yes, this is Detective Danko. We're outside your house. We have a warrant for your arrest. So I says, all right, guys, listen, there'll be no resistance. I got kids in the house. If you want to send one or two guys in, there'll be no problem. Please don't come in like the last time with machine guns, helicopters, and all that nonsense. Let's think about the children. I've been through this before. Let's all get back to our family. With that, I hear the whole room burst out laughing. I was on speakerphone, and there was every actor, everybody there. And what he took best about it is I was laughing about it. I mean, it got me good, and actually put a little bounce in my step. And that was the first time we met.
Yeah, man. I actually forgot that. I remember that phone call. I forgot that there were a bunch of other people around. I might have been a little nervous about what Abe was getting me into.
Listen, the best joke is the one on yourself.
Oh, the best, man.
Yeah, I like my balls broken.
You laughed the hardest that way.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was laughing I wasn't pinched. And then I was laughing you got me.
That was good news, right? Yeah, that was good.
And it's not like you didn't use a name on the #1 TV show in the world. I mean, just because I didn't know it. I was in a time warp.
Damn, I'm trying to think about how, that had to be 15, 18 years ago, 15, 16 years ago. It's got to be
2004.
So 19, Jesus, 20
Yeah,
years. It's 19
two,
years. Wow.
2004.
Wow.
And so his career came out of very talented actor, very good person. And it comes across it when you see the way he portrays, he's not acting. Those good things are really there with him. The man things are really there with him, and his love for people are there. So he got on to CSI Miami, and he wasn't treated as fairly as everybody else, to say the least. Even though they were making money, and they thought they could back him down, for lack of a better term. And he was, pardon the expression, their token Latino,
Mm.
and they thought he was expendable, and that's when we really started getting close. He stood up to them. When they couldn't find someone to replace him, they gave him what he wanted, but he wasn't greedy. But he proved the point for all actors, especially actors from his ethnic background. My father loved the Italian people and all people and civil rights, and he really stood up and did a blow with that, not just for himself. Did I say that properly?
Yeah, that was all true. And it's funny because a lot of people don't know, all of the things that went behind that. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, that was an interesting moment in my career. It was, there was a time I was on a show for a period of time and contributed to the success of it. And, I would never say that it was all about me, because it wasn't. There were other people that people, gravitated to as well, most especially the star of that show. I mean, he really helped solidify that thing as a big hit. And but it's a team effort, and I definitely was a key component to that becoming the success that it was, and a character that was well loved. And yeah, there came a point in time when it was, everybody, well, not everybody else, but the people, and that I had started the show out with were being compensated. We were all sort of started out on a level when we were being compensated. When we were that level, everybody was very close in terms of dollars that they were being paid. And it got to a point a few years in when the show was really a huge hit, about 5-6 years into the show, and raises were given, but the discrepancy in the raises that were given to people was not proportionate with the amount of work that was being contributed. And yeah, I had to take a stand and say that I didn't feel it was fair the way that I was being paid. And they decided to cut me loose. They figured they didn't want to deal with that, because I had been sort of saying that for about a year prior. And I think they knew that I was serious, and they realized, like, look, we're not going to pay him, so let's not even have the argument. We had a quote unquote negotiation. They made an offer. I turned it down. They moved on. We didn't really negotiate. And
Some things aren't negotiable.
No, yeah. And the funny thing was that they made that decision, I mean, immediately. I'd been on that show at that time about 6, I think that was season 6 going into the 7th one, or 7 going into 8. I can't quite remember now. But yeah, they basically, I mean, they put something on the table. We said no, because it wasn't even close. And within an hour, or 2 hours, they had hired somebody else. And then they hired somebody else. The ratings went down, and I think they realized that they underestimated the value that I had to the show. They asked me to come back, and when I went back,
and the quality of the man.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, man. I don't know how much that matters to them. Maybe it matters.
It comes out in your craft.
But there you go. And that's the thing. It's funny because all along, I've done most of the work I've done in my career. Most of it has been in television, and I'm incredibly grateful.
You did make the quantum leap to the big screen when they cut you loose. They didn't expect that, and it was very
did successful. A couple of movies that did well. Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Yes, I think all of that played into it for sure.
And you were hosting in a character on the Victoria's Secrets extravaganza, which you invited me to, which I didn't mind.
Yeah. Oh my God,
that was my kind of party.
That was a treat. Yeah, that was a treat. That was fun. We had a good time doing that. We did. We've had a good ride, man. And the best part is that loyalty and that connection, that I've been able to have with Abe through the whole ride. And, I mean, it's nice. It's nice when you can look back on all these wonderful things you've had an opportunity to do. And there's somebody that was there with you along the way.
Yeah.
And he's that person,
yes.
He's that person.
I know
So
David McGowan died, and he
yeah,
was one of my original heroes, the man from Uncle. And I
yes,
met him
yes.
when he was down and out, and it was sad to see. I gave him some positive words. He felt good. But I know Abe is broken up about that because he treats these
Oh, he
people as their
loves.
his
Yeah,
family.
he does. He does.
Yeah,
He's like that
and
with
he
everybody,
could bullshit us a little better than the rest.
He's a good bullshitter. He's a
Oh,
good bullshitter.
oh,
But
yeah.
you know why he's so good at bullshitting? Because 99.9% of it is truth.
Yeah,
It's not bullshit. He just
and the rest is
sprinkles in
capitalism.
that little, yeah.
Yeah,
He's got that fairy dust that he knows how to sprinkle, but his heart is always in the right place. And
always in the right place.
that's why he's had such a long career because, you know, there's nobody that I know that could say he's not a good guy. There's nobody I know that could say he didn't try to look out for somebody when he could. Nobody I know that could say he wasn't a straight shooter, you know. I mean, in fact, we've done business deals where people have tried to tell me one thing and tell me, "Oh, I told your manager this, that, or the other." And because of our relationship, I know 100% that they're full of shit, you know,
Bullshit.
because I go, no, you can't tell me you
If they'll
told him.
help you for money, they'll hurt you for
There
money.
you go. There you go, man. There you go. I mean, I swear to you, Chris, I hear that ringing in my ear all the time. You told me that we were somewhere at a lounge in New York City.
Yeah,
Elvis was there. We were there, a couple of other people. And we were sitting down that night. We had long conversations.
that was
You
the
and I
night
sat
before
next to each
the
other almost that whole
Victoria's
night.
Secrets thing.
It was around that time. Yes, that's
Yes,
right. That's right. That's
because
right.
that's when your career was going to make a turn.
That's
And
right.
this was interim stuff, but it didn't have to be if CSI Miami didn't want you back.
That's right.
And I didn't know how to cheer you up, And
No, man. It was just
you
getting to know
faced
each
it bravely. You faced it bravely, and you knew that wasn't your limit or your ceiling. And you stood your ground, and you made it easier for other actors that are being exploited because they were a minority. And that's what they brought you on to being originally.
I hope so, man. I
I
hope
know
in
so.
some way of, help people out. I mean, that's a big thing, it's just I love meeting young actors and people that are just starting out in the business, getting a chance to to school them a little bit and give them some advice, share my experience and hope that in sharing my experience and the things I learned from it, that it helps them
Wisdom.
skip a couple of steps that maybe that I had to go through. Because unfortunately, there's not enough of that. There's not enough people, and I don't fault anybody for it. Not everybody's built for it, but when you're aware that you have something to offer, and again, that Abe is like this, you were like this with me, when you know something that works for your life and you take the time to share it with somebody,
Oh, I
that's
love to,
and that's
I ask
generosity.
about you all the time. I don't know why the phones don't go through, but I
No,
feel
but
from not being a mom dad.
yeah.
Like, I get up, we cook together, we eat together. I teach them to take care of things, no entitlement. I mean, it's
Yes,
working.
yes.
It's
Yeah, I
working.
could tell by the look on your face, man. I can't wait to see them. You got to send me some pictures. I got to send you some pictures
Yeah,
of them.
absolutely. I ask Abe every day. And
Yeah,
I knew the fatherhood would complete you. But
man.
you want to know something? As much as you give them, you become a better person and you get more. Without my kids up being in jail or dead.
I'm the best I've ever been because of them. The
I
best.
tell Abe that every day. I bet she's the best father.
Man, I'm best person because you want to be your best for them. You
Yes.
realize they're watching every single thing you do,
And absorbing it.
absorbing it. And I'm like, man, if they don't see me giving
Listen,
my
I got some things my kids really shouldn't absorb.
yeah, but the
Not even a
core,
bounty
man,
paper
the
towel
core.
should absorb something like that.
But you always you evolve, man. You evolve. We make our mistakes, we do the things, we learn from them, and we get better, man.
Forget the experience, remember the lesson.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go, man.
There you go.
You gotta get a book of quotes, man.
That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to help the young. They made
Remember
this
the lesson.
gambling legal. Kids don't even have to give it. I watch my son, and because there's a certain addictive gene when things are illegal, people won't do it. So the
Yes.
majority of that addictive gene and the way they're training them, they're going to take all their money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
the next way. I mean, right? That's what it's all about. I mean, they're running out of ways to do this, quite honestly. I mean, the system we live in, unfortunately,
It's not working.
No, it's completely broken, and it's designed now for the people at the top to figure out ways to mine the people at the bottom for every bit of life force.
How to monetize them.
How to monetize them.
And what's vice today is commerce for them tomorrow.
100%. Even if that means them spending money they don't have, because no one's thinking of the big picture. At some
This
point,
is actually pretty good for me because I can sit here and accuse them of being organized crime now.
you better believe it. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
We at least employed people. The money went back into the community. All this money they say is going towards education. Lotto, Pick 3, Take 5, Pick 6, Mega Millions, Powerball, Scratchies. And I know what kind of money's made in gambling. Trust me.
You better believe it. And it's
And
also go to education. And where's that happening? Who's getting educated?
I don't know.
Anybody getting
go to
educated.
school with this education program, you get stupid.
Yeah, we got a lot to fix. But in some ways it's like they were like, no, that's a good racket, actually. We got to shut them down so we can take that racket over because, there's too much money to be made. That's what that was all about. It was like,
Actually, we perfected it for them. They chased us around so much we had up computers with the Costa Rica. They stole everything from us. I got to hail them, They're better than Al Capone.
Yeah, well, it's good to be the king, when you got all the power to do that. And it's unfortunate that that's the way it's being
Any
used.
bum could take a life, only a king can save one.
There you go.
Then it's good to be the king.
Then it's good to be the
king. Anyway, let's go on with the story. So then we spent some time. You came here, had some freedom. We went on boat trips.
Yeah, that was a great day too.
My favorite story with Adam is when he was coming here, I was excited. He was just named best looking man on the planet by People magazine. He was on the #1 show in the world, not just the country, in the world, for at least a few years running, and it got a little stronger when he came back. And my daughter's really excited because she knows my son is young, and I told him that Adam Rodriguez is coming, and he thinks it's Alec Rodriguez. So what does Adam do? Being the
poor kid, what a disappointment.
He pretended he was Alec Rodriguez the whole day. But he kept saying, Joe, but I'm the poor Rodriguez. I think we can flip the script now. But those acts are what made you rich and the people around you. Because I always say that, Abe, I said, if he needed something 4 o'clock in the morning, I get on a plane and go, whatever it is.
You said it. Thank you, man. And I believe that.
Oh, thank you. You were there for me when they called me dangerous, trying to put me in jail. And then you were trying to restart your career. We take a funny picture in L.A., like you're handcuffing me, and it hits every mob paper, everything. It was on the front page. I said, I hope I didn't destroy this guy's career. But I think it helped. You did something they couldn't do. Keep me in cuffs.
Willingly, right? Yeah, with a smile on your face. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So then how did this all start? How did you get the podcast up and running?
What happened was they did that show, The Offer. It was Abe's friends with the people that did it. And they really destroyed and put the Italian people down, the Spanish people down, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, blacks. We live in 2023. And listen, if I was Jeffrey Dahmer, which they're making a hero out of him, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I watched that. That was...
Yeah, it's scary, right? And to show you, I mean, that's why I'm happy you're on the show you are. I mean, listen, maybe some things are negotiable, but
yeah, man, it's just some things you don't.
That's just something you should
let it go. Yeah, let it go.
I mean, I wouldn't know how to glorify a serial killer or a pedophile or whatever, or a guy that eats people. And I got a voracious appetite, but I'll tell you, I'm not looking to gnaw on you. No, so, getting to the point, they did this show and they portrayed my father and the Italian people and what he believed in all civil rights so poorly. And we live in a world today that you can't say Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
There's no more Mr. Bubble. I always called myself an unsung gentleman. You can't even Google it now. It's unsung hero. And the way they portray women in the show is even more disgraceful. And your background is the same as mine. Women, children, elderly, the handicapped, the challenged, and not that women are weaker sex, as men were obligated to be supportive and more respectful.
Yeah.
And because we want our children to grow up in that world. Because eventually they will be children, they will be mothers, grandmothers, and whatever. And they had the grace of God. You go, thank God our kids aren't special, but if they were, we'd be there for them. And we'd want other people there for them. Or handicapped. So what they did in The Godfather, they undermined everything my father did for all races and religions. And Godfather Harlem, they have him bringing in drugs, using the N-word to Bumpy Johnson. And Vincent Gigante, they call him the Chin. You may not recognize him, but he wasn't even of that era when my father was there. They have him, and my father, and they're using his real name and everything and all the things he did, and they have him having carnal knowledge. I like to use the F word, having sex, and they make it about that. He had a daughter. She was 7 years old, and she went on to live an alternative lifestyle. But forget about what you're doing to my father and the morals he stood by. How do you do that to a woman?
Yeah.
And I watched Godfather of Harlem, and you wore your character very, very well. At times they tried to play the race card, stuff like that, and you danced around it with the dexterity of a gazelle. You know, you got my father didn't like the N word. He didn't like any people being oppressed, and every minority is a minority should come together to help one another. We should stick together. And they got Forrest Whitaker and Chaz Palminteri calling Forrest Whitaker the N word. I mean, come on, we're in 2023. And men of the street, I know better than anybody. A man is a man no matter what color he is. And you ain't talking to nobody like that. Well, there's going to be problems. And that's what's causing the violence. And that's what's instilling in these kids and the younger generation. They take real names and real situations and they legalize gambling and they don't care about the ramifications as long as that project makes its dollar and they want it to be controversial. So that's why I'm doing this podcast. And I happen to know a lot about gambling and a lot about civil rights and a lot about the do's and don'ts because I don't want kids to end up the way I did.
Yeah. No, and this is, I mean, and you're right on. You know it from the inside out. I mean, the way that this is all going, this is the next plague.
Yes, you have no idea.
And they're just rolling it out now. And especially, right, the less opportunity there is out there, the more these things are attractive to people because it's a chance to explore.
And poverty breeds violence and in the home.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're putting us back 200 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if they listen to me on the gambling, I think I was 4 for 4 the first week, even though I picked one. I went 5 for 7 this past week, but I'm teaching them how to bet, how to money manage, how not to fall into the traps, and not to keep pushing.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming up with ways now. Let's say you started to gamble, they'll loan you money against garnishing your paycheck.
They're there with it already?
Yeah. And your house.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's
how many mansions do these politicians need?
Yeah, you know, the saddest part is we're at a point now where we're just not even equipped, and it goes back to the same education that all of this legalized gambling is supposed to be going towards paying. We're at a point now where the people aren't educated enough to make good decisions about the politicians that they're putting in place, you know, across the board, man.
Across the board,
red, blue, I don't care anybody.
Doesn't matter.
It's stupid, you know.
I believe in reincarnation.
Yeah, man, it's all a distraction. The red and the blue is a distraction from what the real problem is, you know. And people get caught up in that. The real problem is we are off course in a big way, and you get caught up in the argument about who's right and who's wrong is a waste of time, unfortunately.
Yes,
you know, and really, in my opinion, I mean, if we're not pumping that money into educating the next generation. You know, which even if we did it today, right? What are we talking about? 30, 40 years before we're going to see returns on that investment. But man, if we don't do it now.
That's the best investment we could have.
That's it, man. You know, just good decision makers, the smart people, parents teaching the kids how to make good decisions and, you know, learning to listen to themselves, to know what's right, you know?
What's right.
For whatever, you know, brushes with
Don't be a victim of marketing.
Your father, your parents raised you with a moral compass that, you know, that takes you through the rest of your life, right? You know,
yes.
and you're good to people. You treat people with respect. You care about people, and we are so far away from that now, and it's nowhere to be found, man. There's nowhere to be found.
We're gonna bring it back, man.
Man, you know what I realized, honestly, the best I could do, just like the best you could do is you do it for your kids, and you hope that you spread the ripple out a little farther, than it was when you got here. And if in some way along the way, you have conversations and you tell people the advice that you give them, and you say, don't forget the experience, remember the lesson, and you tell them, if they will help
with you against
they
you.
will, you give them those little gems. It's one of those things that, like, hey, that makes a difference here and there. Somebody's gonna remember that and apply that to their
You know
life.
how I came up with those short sayings?
Nah,
I used to love to lecture and nobody paid attention. They run away from me, so I had to
condense. That's it. This is concise. This is what I'm trying to say in 10 minutes.
Hey,
here it is.
but you're 47
Fortune
now.
cookie.
We started when I was
Fortune
16.
cookie. Here it is. Fortune cookie.
Yeah. This, the best fortune cookie I ever opened was the one that said, "Live each day like it's your last, because one day you may be right."
Yeah, no, that's the truth, man.
You never expect to lose your parents, and it happens, but you never prepare for it. Yeah. If I could have my parents back for 10 minutes, I'd give both my arms and legs up and roll through life happy. And I can roll better than most. I'm built for it anatomically. I like to talk a little bit about this last part of your career.
Yeah,
and I hail you as a father, because I know that's something you enjoy.
Oh,
so that's not work.
No. I mean, it's work, but it's not work. It's
you enjoy it.
I love it. I love it, man.
It's always remember I used to always tell you you're going to be a great parent.
Did say that, man. And I mean,
anybody can put up my son Joey.
Best.
Yeah, he was. I thought he was going to be a school shooter. I was so scared of that kid, and he turned out. You have no idea. So no idea. So CSI, Criminal Minds, I'm a fan of. Mm-hmm. Very, very much so, because it's part of law enforcement that people don't see. It's a part of the FBI that people don't see. And I've had my problems with the FBI, the COINTELPRO division that was set up to violently the secret part. But I hail the FBI and what they do there. And I think it's important. And my son, they just broke up with a very beautiful, beautiful girl. And she was a very, very big Criminal Minds. And, that character that you replaced, actually, I think that character that you perfected and involved, if you want to get my opinion, but I'm not prejudiced here, was the main character she liked.
Yeah, for sure.
So when he came off the show, it was like somebody died. I mean, she was in depression. I mean, so I said, the only person
I was worried about that. I was like, man, people love this guy. I'm gonna come in, and I mean, look, I needed a job. I didn't care, but I was like, it may be hard.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, maybe hard to fill those shoes.
So before they got you, I said, the only guy I think that could pull this off, because I like the character.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Adam should go for this job. He'd be perfect for it. And I says, I don't want to say he will do a better job. I said, he'll do an equally a job and bring a better dimension to this show. Because that genre has been with the being abused and back to the neighborhood, it ran its course.
Yeah.
It ran its course. It's very emotional. So when I told her about it, she says to me, it can never happen. 3 weeks in, she comes here. He's the best I've ever seen.
No, get out of here.
I swear to God.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Say it went smoothly. I had those same, questions when I took on the role. Because the show'd been on so long, man. I mean, I was coming on that show. The show had already been on 12 seasons, and he was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, I was concerned. It's like, I'm talking about the other show. I had been there from the beginning. To get replaced is a tough thing. It's a tough thing for people to embrace you when they're used to the thing.
Yes.
And so I really felt fortunate. The way they brought me in was strong, and I never looked back. But I mean, I was well received, which was good. I was grateful for the way that I was received. Some people resisted. I would see some comments here and there about, we want Morgan, and it wasn't much of that. People came around pretty quickly, which felt good. It felt good.
And not only that, your character doesn't have a personal motive in the game. And, the way they made your background coming in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, it was strong. I love that. I love that first episode where they introduced me.
Yeah,
It was strong,
I
man.
watch it now,
Yeah,
just so you
yeah.
know.
No, I could see, you know the
Yeah,
deal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And I mean, look, on so many levels at that point, we had started that show. We had one kid and the second was on the way. And I, was happy to get a job, and it was here in Los Angeles, which made life easier too. And then, like I said, I stepped in there. The work was great and the people were great. I mean, I love going to that set every day. I'm looking forward to getting back to work, man. It's unbelievable. Things keeps going because during COVID, we wrapped that show up. I did 3 years on there, 3 seasons, and right before COVID, the show had their finale and was done. COVID
Yes.
came around, and then during COVID,
Everybody started watching TV.
people started watching TV, and this thing went through the roof. It was the number one watch show on, I think it was Netflix at the time.
It's what I did.
Through the roof. People binged it, and it just developed this brand new younger audience. And so, and they called and said, "Look, would you guys want to come back?" And we all love being together so much that we said, yeah, we'd all be happy to come back, and we did, and we came back. We've done just one new season so far for Paramount Plus, and hopefully we get to get going on the second season. Probably, the strike. The writers are done. SAG is just going to be getting in the room to hopefully finalize in the next week or so. Maybe that gets done in the next 2 weeks. They come to a deal, and then we could get back to work, hopefully November, December, if not at the very top of the year. But just a lot of people hurting, man. That this strike has been tough, mostly on everybody, but mostly on crew people and people that work in what's called below the line in the business, which are really the people with boots on the
They
ground.
need to work paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, yeah. They supporting families, and a lot of them haven't worked. I mean, this thing's been going on 5.5 months now, and
That's a long strike.
yeah, it's a long one. It was a long one. It was a long one, and the thing, what made it really long was that a lot of the productions, Hollywood knew that this was coming. So at the top of the year, we were supposed to start shooting in April, which means they would have started preparing the season, late February, early March. And right before they were going to start preparing, building the sets and getting everything going, we got a phone call to say, hey, they're pausing everything until after the strike. So, people that were ready to work starting end of February, all of a sudden now they haven't worked since then. You're talking about, 8, 9 months for some of these people. It might even be,
And they got children.
and they got families and
Yeah.
mortgages and bills, and it's just not easy, man. So I really hope that we're at the end of it. I hope
And those people benefit the least from it.
yeah, right. At this point, they don't benefit at all.
Yeah, they'll never get back what they lost because
No, that's it. That's gone. And they will be, they will have their contract come up next year, the union that represents most of those workers. And so we'll be standing right there beside them for that. And, so they get what they are supposed to get as well. And we've got their backs when that time comes. But, they did. They had
that's
to,
nice.
they suffered it for this year, and grateful to all of them for that. Yeah.
Thank you to them. Solidarity
Yeah, every day, man.
for the greater good.
Can't get it done without them. I mean, they're the real backbone. We get all the credit, the people on camera, but people behind the cameras. I mean, those are the people that really get it done, and yeah, they deserve all the credit in the world, man. So
Thank you for saying that.
yeah, absolutely, it's the truth. It's the truth, man.
It's
Yeah.
the truth.
So you got to know.
You're living in LA again? In
Yeah,
California?
yeah, we're in LA, we're in California, and enjoying it here. I don't know, I don't know what's next. We'll be here for a while. I think lately we've been talking. We'll see. Maybe 7, 8 years down the road, Hawaii, maybe.
Hawaii, everybody says it's fantastic.
I love it there.
I've never been because I don't like the long plane flights.
No, you never been? Come to LA and then just break up the trip a little bit. But you got to go, man. It's beautiful.
Well, after I had my kids, I became territorial.
So you don't like leaving home base?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had covert. We went through 9/11, which changed traveling forever. Also,
Yeah, no, it's a pain
and
in the neck.
I never feared anything till I had children.
Changes, right? You realize there's some great quote that I can't remember now, but you never know. It's essentially what they're saying is like you never feel more vulnerable than the day you bring a child into the world, because all of a sudden you know that you don't have control. Oh, you don't really have
No,
control over
it's
what
up to
happens
God.
to the child. That's it. That's it.
My,
And that
I
is,
saw.
that's the thing I sit up at night sometimes and worry about, their health and their,
Wait till
the
they get their license.
fuck.
Listen, I
Yeah.
bought him a Jeep, a head-on collision. First day he had his license.
Oh Christ, man.
Well,
Obviously he's all right. I mean,
yeah, yeah. But no, shouldn't have been. Thank God. And I credit to when I'm sitting here, and the odds were against me to beat my case. And you're one of the people that got me through with the kids, and it was a tumultuous time. The marriage didn't make it, but the kids did. But I believe the better I am to people's children, the better God will be to mine.
100%.
And that's why I'm doing this.
Beautiful.
The area I can see to help, I do.
You have something to offer. You got to do it. It's your call. It's your calling. You know something. You got to share it. You got to share it, man. So I'm glad you're
And
doing it because people need to hear it.
I hail the shows you're on because there's good morals instilled. It's the right thing. What they're doing and taking real people's names and to make it entertaining, and it's affecting the children of this country.
Yeah,
And they believe what they see on TV.
this is
You know,
true. It's true.
yes, it is. We were brought up to respect law enforcement. You follow me? It's not the case here. They're going to abolish police forces. And the people looking to abolish those, the ones that need them.
Yeah.
I never called a policeman in my life.
Yeah.
Follow me? I don't think it would have came. You can't handle it. I ain't coming. They told me once.
They all came at once for you. You didn't call, but they all came at
Oh, they
once.
only come to get me because they know it's fun. One piece you all get back, but I'm going to tell you something. You were a winner from the gate. I'm the best handicapper in the country. And I saw it from day one because you're all heart. And this, and this agree. And you got them all in the right place. And you give a lot of love.
Thank you, man. Yeah, thank you.
Not a compliment, a fact.
That's it, man.
Adam, I think we're going to wrap this. Anything you'd like to say?
Man, I love what you're doing here. In terms of what I think it's so important to be able to get that message out there and to say, look, nothing wrong with having a good time and gambling. You want to bet on a game, but there's such a fine line.
That's just that too. That too. They're leading them into roulette. They're leading them into virtual reality craps. And there's people in rooms designed to burn their brain out. The way it goes.
False hope is the enemy. You know what I mean? Focus on your real life, and if you've got that together and you want to have fun doing something else every once in a blue,
yes,
you gotta have, that discipline and
they're taking advantage. And one of the worst things that happened was those video games that kept them in the house.
Yeah. To another.
I miss you, pal. I love you.
I miss you. I love you, Chris. It's great to see you, man.
Listen, I don't see it for another 1,000 years. It's still there. But let me tell you, as long as those kids are healthy and you're happy, that's what's important.
I wish I could
life, do you and do it to the best of your capability.
Yes.
Because who's not with you is against you.
Against you. That's right. Love you, Chris.
Love you too, pal. All right, let me go. These guys are all going to quit on me. I'm not a superstar like you.
All right. Love you, man. Good to see you.
Love you, brother.
See you.